Hello, fellow seekers and collectors. I'm the Cinema Seeker. This is an interesting one. I just made the Doctor Who video, so we're transitioning from excitement to now just wow, this I did not expect this, and to be honest, this is going to be one that's going to really, I don't know what's going to happen. I have a feeling it's going to go the way I think it will, but you never know. And if you've been on Twitter or have paid attention to to news that's been going on right now, oh boy, Marvel's in trouble. I believe potentially in a heap of trouble. It's not only just Marvel, but it's Disney and in many ways even probably Sony. So let's just get into it. Marvel sues to block heirs from reclaiming Spider-Man Doctor Strange copyrights. Now, to those of you who are not in the know, apparently Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's heirs, so pretty much their descendants and their estate, are apparently trying to find a legal way to get characters that their predecessors had created. And these characters and these are huge characters. These are really big ones. They include Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man, and Doctor Strange. I think most of you probably can see how that's a very big deal, especially with the fact that a lot of these are still in the MCU right now and are still getting movies. In fact, I think there's even more. Let me check. Yeah, I checked, and apparently there's some other people getting involved or being represented, and some of the other characters I think I have seen include apparently Falcon. That's going to be one that is probably going to come into conflict with the MCU. So, wow, okay, there's a lot to discuss here because it now puts it into perspective of what happens if Disney somehow loses. I don't think they're going to lose, to be honest, because I have heard not confirmed, but heard that apparently the lawyer who handled the Superman situation that happened at DC, a similar situation, is handling the Marvel case. So there's a more than likely chance that Marvel is going to end up winning, or it's going to go in the favor of them. But to kind of put this into perspective, not only does that mean that if the Ditko and Lee estate win, that pretty much means that Disney's going to have to license these characters. They're no longer going to own them. Marvel, I technically won't even. And that means that it'll affect not only just the MCU, but the greater Marvel brand in general. Which is kind of crazy to me. And that means it affects the movies, the TV shows, the video games, the comics, even the merchandise. Even your precious figures, your precious plastic that I like is not even safe. So that's going to be something. Now, the thing is that for me, I do understand why the estate, technically, why they do want them back. Because technically, they were creations by these people. They came from them, and I think in many ways they feel like we should be in charge of what goes on further. But there's also the idea that, you know, that a lot of it does bring up kind of the dark side of the comic book industry back then, and I guess somewhat to a degree now, is a lot of comic companies treat creators as a work for hire. And so that pretty much means that the companies will retain everything and allow the creator to get, maybe a smidgen of what Marvel ultimately would get. And I think it's kind of fucked up that that happens. In fact, it's very fucked up that that does happen. And I don't think it's okay. But it ultimately depends on how Ditko and Lee handled this, because we all know the story of Jack Kirby and how he got fucked over majorly by Marvel, and it's awful and horrendous. But then you look at somebody like Stan Lee, who was the man for them. You know, he was pretty much their Walt Disney for that company. You know, Stan Lee was Walt Disney and Spider-Man is Mickey Mouse. So I think in many ways, I think there's probably was a better deal struck with them, especially somebody like Ditko, who helped create Spider-Man, the literal mascot of Marvel. You know, a character considered one of the greatest, if not even the greatest superhero ever made. It does raise the question exactly how did that deal turn out between them, and maybe there is something that they thought while they were alive was a good thing, but maybe their estate says is not, or maybe there's a legal loophole that Marvel is exploiting, and for that, I do understand their plight, but I do understand also the worry where for some people it's like, how is this going to affect the greater, you know, like, the greater Marvel brand as a whole, because they're trying to get back really huge characters who are in many ways pillars of Marvel. I mean, especially Spider-Man, that's the one, because then you also have to factor in with the fact that because they're trying to ask for Spider-Man back, Sony now technically is being brought into this too, like inadvertently, because they want to have their own Spider-Man stuff. They own the film rights still. I mean, they're sharing the film rights with Marvel. So I'm pretty sure that Marvel losing the rights to that character probably will also maybe screw over Sony. And I could see how they will also have a bit of a problem with that. So, yeah, this is very interesting because we have, so many movies already planned out, and that involve these characters: Thor: Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. Falcon has been promoted to Captain America. You know, and of course we have plenty of Spider-Man properties that are still being made. We have a Spider-Man game coming out that just got revealed at the PlayStation Showcase. There's already an Into the Spider-Verse 2 being thought of. I think it's supposed to be coming out eventually. And then, of course, we have No Way Home and the future of the MCU Spider-Man film. So it does make me wonder what's going to happen here, because either way, somebody's going to get screwed over, and I think that's, the unfortunate possibility is that this is going to be a potential win for someone and a loss for the other, whether it's a loss for Disney or a loss for the Ditko Lee estate. And the thing is that we also have to mention too is that before we start, freaking out and oh my God, that's it, we're never gonna have our superheroes again. No. Chotto mate. We still can have them. Disney will just have to start paying license fees. They will have to essentially license those characters out. And not to mention, too, I'm pretty sure that the estate, if it were to revert back to them, they'll probably not only be going to Disney, but they'll probably be going to other companies as well. They'll probably license them out to different other companies if they wanted to. If they wanted to partner with Warner Brothers, they actually could. You could see Spider-Man coming from Warner Brothers. I mean, which I doubt they're going to do because they're still dealing with DC, but you never know, they may try to. If that were to happen, we may live in a weird timeline where Warner Brothers is handling the DC movies and then you've got them making a Spider-Man movie, or even trying to work out a deal where all of a sudden you get coming next summer, Batman and Spider-Man on the big screen together for the first time. that could potentially happen. So, yeah, this is a very crazy situation because I don't know what the fuck is it with Spider-Man as a character, but it's like companies are just playing tug of war with him. You had that whole thing a few years ago when we had that panic with Spider-Man being taken out of the MCU, and then of course, Disney and Marvel made up and shook hands together, and now they've been playing well with each other. But now this throws another wrench into that plan for Spider-Man, because it seems like everybody is really everybody's pulling the J. Jonah Jameson. I want Spider-Man! I want Spider-Man! Yeah, so this is crazy. This is insane. And this is on the same day that the Doctor Who announcement happened. So, two huge things in, I guess you could say, nerd fandom happened. We got one big exciting news and the other kind of mildly depressing news. I don't know, this is going to be one that's going to be very interesting to see. I don't know if I'll make an update video on this, but if I had to make a guess as to what's going to happen, Disney is probably going to end up winning. Let's just be honest. I mean, Disney's this huge mega billion-dollar corporation. They can hire the most high-priced lawyers, like they'll probably, they could charge $500,000 an hour and Disney would be willing to pay it, so that way they can still have the majority of the big characters that they're investing in. So, yeah, I feel like the outcome is going to be Disney wins, and unfortunately the Steve Ditko and Lee estate either will get screwed over, or Disney's going to strike up a deal like the way they did with Sony. And maybe that's where it'll go. Maybe there will be a rare win-win situation for both of them where Disney sits down with them and says, let's negotiate a contract. You get this, you get that, we get this, and they may work something out, and then the entire thing is dropped. Because Marvel is definitely not taking this sitting down. They are flat out. I mean, they in the article that I just read, apparently they've thrown 5 lawsuits at the estate. 5. That is a lot. And so, like I said, now whether those lawsuits will go through, they'll get dropped, or like I said, maybe a contract or something, negotiation will happen, but yeah, this is going to be one to watch, because this isn't like, like the, creator of Blue Marvel or the creator of Darkhawk or Night Thrasher is trying to, get the rights back, a character that's not really being utilized or isn't really in the popular conscience. No, this is like, these are characters who have now become established mainstays, not only of the MCU, but the Marvel brand as a whole. These are heroes that now, before, people would have been like, I've heard of him, or I've heard of her, but I'm not too aware. Now everybody knows it, man. Everybody knows who these characters are. And then, of course, I mean, the pillar of pop culture, Spider-Man. So this is a legal battle that's going to be very fascinating to watch. I'm very interested to see how long it's going to last, because you compare this to something like the Friday the 13th lawsuit that's been going on. Yeah, that one has taken so long and has been such a mess that it's kind of almost hard to follow. So, yeah, I do genuinely, I'm very curious as to how the ending is going to be, but I think I already know, and that is Disney wins. So that's about it, guys. Oh boy, oh man, Marvel would you would trouble. We're gonna have to see how this plays out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. See you in the next one.